Hello and welcome to the Bot Box. Box flippers are not all that common on Robot Wars. At all. If box flippers are your thing, Robot Wars is not the best place to look for them. Try BattleBots. There's quite a few in its history, its long and storied history. Kronic the Wedgehog, when it first started out in Series 4 of Robot Wars, after being rejected for Series 3, was a blue box flipper with an extraordinarily steep wedge and a spike. And yes, its name was indeed a pun on Sonic the Hedgehog. No, I cannot provide any more Sonic puns that would rely on me knowing something about Sonic. No, also, I cannot provide Sonic puns after spending the day I'd planned to write this episode with a migraine living rent-free in my head. I'd rather deal with my personal earworm, whose name I will not utter here, than another migraine. Feel free to speculate on what that earworm is in the comments down there. Anyway, Kronic the Wedgehog. It landed in Heat G and drew flippers Thermidor 2 and Gravedigger, number 13 seed. Kronic the Wedgehog made a target of Thermidor 2 but couldn't flip them. Gravedigger had a similar struggle in trying to flip Kronic the Wedgehog. So the 13th seeds helped Kronic the Wedgehog shove Thermidor 2 into a wall. Thermidor 2 then proceeded to get its revenge. It did not help matters by parking itself on the floor flipper. Kronic the Wedgehog fortunately wasn't active. Kronic the Wedgehog was very lucky to stay on its wheels when Thermidor 2 flipped it. Kronic the Wedgehog retaliated by shoving Thermidor into a wall, breaking one of Thermidor 2's claws, as Thermidor 2 was lobster-based, and parking Gravedigger on that same wall. The 13th seeds were a sitting duck for Thermidor 2, who flipped Gravedigger on its side. Despite the kill lot writing Gravedigger, the 13th seeds were out. And no, Kronic the Wedgehog got no credit whatsoever for the assist. Next up was Waggler Wielder Dark Destroyer 2. No, really, that was its weapon. Little waggly things. I'm not sure what they were supposed to do. Score points, maybe. Aggression ones. The two danced around each other early on before Kronic the Wedgehog tried to flip Dark Destroyer 2. Dark Destroyer 2 pushed Kronic the Wedgehog around the arena. Once free, Kronic the Wedgehog flipped Dark Destroyer 2 over. So Kronic left Dark Destroyer 2 alone, only prodding once and leaving Dark Destroyer 2 to the non-existent mercy of the House Robots. Dark Destroyer 2 flew airfloor flipper and got pitted. Next up was Thermidor 2 again. Lobster vs Hedgehog is not a fight you really think would happen. Once again, the fight started the two dancing around each other. Ever seen a hedgehog and a lobster dance? No, I thought not. The two flippers locked, and Thermidor 2 actually managed to poke a hole in Kronic the Wedgehog's flipper. Kronic the Wedgehog could still carry Thermidor 2 around, which it did, and sent Thermidor 2 to Shunt. Shunt missed with an axe blow and got free, but when Kronic the Wedgehog tried to flip Thermidor 2, Thermidor 2's flipper came into play, and Kronic's flipper broke. It was hanging on for dear life. So Kronic the Wedgehog tried to send Thermidor 2 to a house hero, which is his only tactic left remaining. But Thermidor 2 had new life, and Kronic the Wedgehog was basically slowly dying. In fact, he did die. Enter two house heroes who eventually pitted Kronic. Kronic 2 returned for Series 5 as a regular wedge with foam spikes. 2 flippers. Not just 1, 2. It landed in heat F where it do Spike Drama King Bee Powerworks. Kronic 2's full name was Kronic 2. Yeah! No, really. You see it painted on the side of the robot. Kronic 2. Yeah! Go figure. You do you, Kronic team. You do you. Anyway, they had to fight King Bee Powerworks. Kronic 2 managed to get some defensive flips in early on, but being invertible, King Bee Powerworks was not bothered in the slightest. After Kronic 2 lost the spike, King Bee Powerworks rammed Kronic 2 into the same wall twice and into Sergeant Bash, also twice. King Bee Powerworks basically prodded and poked at Kronic 2 until Kronic 2 was all but dead. But Kronic 2 did live long enough to make it to a judge's decision, even though it did end this fight sitting on the flame pit with some of its foam spikes on fire. The judges ruled in favour of King Bee Powerworks, of course. Kronic 2 returned for Series 6, where it landed in Heat I and drew Crusher Rocks, Full Body Spinner Corkscrew, and 8-seeded left a Panic Attack, the Series 2 champion. Kronic 2's team's trash talking, a rare case of not a trash talk outside of Robot Wars Extreme, was aimed at Corkscrew, and the team wore kilts. Fortunately, the Corkscrew team were out of earshot. That would not have gone down well. I'm thinking of concrete balloon levels of going down well. So, you don't get any points for the trash talk, Kronic 2. Sorries. That would have been trouble. Anyway, Kronic 2 immediately got attacked by Panic Attack and Rocks because nobody wanted to go anywhere near Corkscrew. It was spinning fast, it was terrifying. Kronic 2 gained hold before Corkscrew rocked up, being Kronic 2's unlikely hero, tore off one of Panic Attack's skirts and caused everyone to back away from Kronic 2, which just left Kronic 2 wide open for a Corkscrew attack. Corkscrew tore off a wheel guard and apparently damaged Kronic 2's secondary flipper. Kronic 2's response was simple: open the pit and nudge Corkscrew in. That one act probably changed the course of the entire heat. Rocks then targeted Kronic 2, but Kronic 2 flipped Rocks. Rocks could not self-right. Well, it could self-right in theory, but it could not self-right if it suffered a leak in its hydraulics, which is precisely what happened. So Kronic 2 went after Panic Attack, but it got through, as 2 robots were already out. Next up was Axbot Terahertz, much to the terror of the Kronic 2 team, as Kronic 2 had been suffering from the Portleys. I think Corkscrew had something to do with that. That was Corkscrew's revenge, wasn't it? Anyway, Terahertz showed absolutely no mercy and axed Kronic 2 repeatedly, ultimately sending Kronic 2 to Sergeant Bash. Not a good place to be with all those foam spikes. Still, they were intact, if a little bit singed from a trip to the flame pit when they escaped Sergeant Bash. However, freedom didn't last long. Terahertz just pushed them around the arena to a wall via the flame pit. In fact, they stopped short of the wall and ended up parked on the flame pit. The foam spikes caught fire. Kronic 2 was basically all but dead and ended up tangled in with Growler. Terahertz pushed yet again, opened the pit, and sent Kronic 2 to Sergeant Bash and rammed Sergeant Bash. There, Kronic 2 was counted out and parked on the flame pit again. So Kronic the Wedgehog, reverting back to its original name, because for some reason teams tend to go to 3. Returned for Series 7, landing in Heat J, where it drew 2 Crushers, Pinsir and the Kraken, and Spikebot Cobra. No pirates were involved in this battle. Kronic the Wedgehog flipped Cobra early on before making Pinsir its target. After all, it didn't look like it could self-right this Pinsir. But Kronic the Wedgehog couldn't actually flip Pinsir and gained a hole. So once free, rescued by the Kraken, it rammed Cobra along with the Kraken. Interesting tag team. Kronic the Wedgehog got away when Pinsir got involved. Just as well, since Pinsir put a hole in Cobra and couldn't actually retract the spike. So Pinsir ended up going out along with Cobra. In fact, they got counted out together. And Kronic the Wedgehog got through. Next up was another rammer in Mighty Mouse. The first hit caused Kronic the Wedgehog to lose all but 3 of its foam spikes. Kronic the Wedgehog flipped Mighty Mouse twice, but Mighty Mouse just about landed on its wheels. Or it wasn't just about that, it just rolled over and landed on its wheels. Who needs self-writers when you can have self-writing barrel roll things? If the flip had been close to the arena, a Mighty Mouse probably would have actually gone out. After that, Kronic the Wedgehog just could not catch Mighty Mouse for toffee. Mighty Mouse was just too slippery for Kronic the Wedgehog. Mighty Mouse opened the pit, breaking the pit release tire in the process. And Kronic the Wedgehog got driven into a corner in a bid to catch Mighty Mouse and actually pin it in with Growler. But there it got stuck on the arena wall and died. So Kronic the Wedgehog was counted out, hammered, and sat on. Evidently, Mr. Psycho was going by the rule of if it fits, I sit. Kronic the Wedgehog decided on some retaliation just as Cease was called. They tried to flip Mr. Psycho. 10 out of 10 for trying. After Series 7, Kronic actually changed hands. They changed hands to another team, but Kronic the Wedgehog itself never returned to Robot Wars, though a similar robot, Kronic CHORNIC, was reserved for BattleBots 1 series. Fact. Its new humans actually made a new robot for Series 8 of Robot Wars. A wedge flipper, much like Kronic the Wedgehog, only it only had the 1 flip instead of 2. Its name? Apollo. Yeah, the Series 8 champions. Kronic the Wedgehog always had potential. Potential was realised with the Apollo, but always ended up going out to good bots. Of all the robots that Kronic the Wedgehog lost to, the only one that never made it beyond the heats was Mighty Mouse. And of course, there's a lot of Kronic's later appearances do act as foreshadowing for what Apollo would do, even the attempted attack on Mr. Psycho. I do like Apollo a lot. So, next week is Christmas. Which am I going to be talking about over Christmas? Taiki, I beseech you, please be kind. I'm not sure if Taiki is going to be kind, but I'll take what I can get. Snake Bite. A Swiss spot. Until next week, Taliesin244 out.